Section 11 of Weird Tales Double Feature, The Skull and the Body Master, by Harold Ward. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Ben Tucker. The Body Master, Chapter 7. Seating himself opposite me, Lessman pushed a box of cigars across the table. "Help yourself," he smiled, selecting one for himself. "You are some 60 seconds ahead of time. I hardly expected you to be so prompt." "Expected me?" I ejaculated. He nodded. "Naturally," he responded. "How else do you suppose you got here? You certainly did not expect that I would make so great an oversight as to leave your door unlocked. I wanted you, wanted to have a talk with you. My mind willed that you should come, and you are here." He waved his hand with a slight gesture, as if dismissing the entire subject. For a second there was silence, then he resumed. "Our little fracas of the other night taught me that you are a man of more than ordinary mental ability. In fact, you are the first who has ever disobeyed my unspoken commands. And more than that, you showed me that you are the man I have been seeking all these years." His eyes burned with enthusiasm as he continued. "Man," he went on, "my experiments have been a success. True, lives have been destroyed, but what is life? Your man-made theology teaches you that life is but a span of a few years in eternity. You snap the cord which binds you to this earth, and immediately you enter the paradise which your God has prepared for you. Why then prolong matters? I, rather than being the monster you think me to be, am a benefactor to the human race. Every man who dies in my hands before his allotted time has that much longer to spend in heaven." He leaned back in his chair and laughed mirthlessly for an instant. "I am not here to argue the right or wrong of the thing, however," he continued. "I am a man born to rule. I would rather be a big devil in hell than a little angel in heaven. If there be such places as heaven and hell, which I greatly doubt. I need help in my work, my experiments. True, I have Meta, but she is only a weak woman. I need others, men whom I can teach, men whom I can trust, men with the will to conquer. You have proven to me that you are such a man. The world is yours, the world and all that it contains, if you accept." He stopped suddenly and gazed into my eyes as if trying to read my very soul. In fact, I believed that he did read my mind, for he answered my unspoken thoughts before I had voiced them. "Yes, the devil took Christ upon the mountain and offered him everything," he exclaimed, his eyes blazing. "Call me the devil if you like. I care not a rap what you term me. I offer you the same. I said before, and I say again, the world is yours. Money, power, pleasure, and—" As he spoke, as if in obedience to some rehearsed cue, the door opened. A vague perfume assailed my nostrils, a faint elusive scent, a zephyr from the east. Through the opening Meta stepped. She wore a kimono, a soft, silken, figured affair reminiscent of the Orient. I can only remember that beneath its folds protruded a glimpse of tiny bare feet clad in the smallest of sandals. There are silences more eloquent than words. For an instant my eyes sought hers, deep, dark, lustrous, glowing like great pools of liquid fire. She smiled, then suddenly she sprang forward, her arms from which the folds of the kimono had slipped, bared, outstretched toward me, her rich red lips upraised to mine. I leaped to my feet. My mind was filled with wild, insane thoughts. I took a half-step toward her. Like a frightened bird, she darted backward. Then, as if filled with a wild abandon, she tore open the neck of her kimono, revealing to my startled gaze a glimpse of transparent white skin. Stretching forth one rounded arm, she displaced the curtain, discovering to my view a room opposite that in which lay the body of the man from the grave. My God! Crouched in a corner like a frightened animal was Avis! Her dress was torn, her golden hair matted and unkempt. She shrunk away from the light as one who fears its rays. Her big blue eyes gazed into mine. They were wide with fear, yet her lips moved. It seemed to me that they were trying to form some message, to convey something to me. She held up her hands appealingly. They were fastened together with chains. From behind me came the voice of Lessman. "Choose," he commanded. On one hand, wealth, luxury, power, beautiful women. On the other, this. Choose. Another extract from the diary. I awoke in my own bed. I have the word of Avis for what happened. She says that when Lessman made his terrible offer to me, that I stood for an instant like a man too astounded for utterance. Suddenly I turned and struck him squarely in the face. Meta screamed. Lessman, however, merely dropped back a step and stretched forth his hand. I had my arm drawn back to strike him again. I wavered, staggered for a second like a drunken man. Then my knees gave way under me and I fell forward on my face. That is all she knows. She was hurried back to her own room by Meta, where she fell in a swoon. End of The Body Master, Chapter 7.